Hello friends, I'm Priscilla Purl. I'm an avid knitter and vintage enthusiast from Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada. I love to knit from both vintage and modern patterns to create items that complement my vintage-inspired wardrobe. If you want to see more of what I'm up to, I can be found on both Instagram and Ravelry as The Lavender Pearl. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about a recent finished object, some vintage-inspired ways that I like to style my FO, a recent cast-on that I'm already close to finishing, a vintage hat and scarf set that I've been working on, and a couple of yarn and vintage knitting pattern purchases that I've made since we last talked. There will be links to all of the yarns and patterns that I talk about in the description box below. First, I'm going to tell you all about my recent finished object, Beauty School by Poison Grrls. I used Sandnes Garn Sisu in black. Sisu is a 80% wool and 20% nylon fingering weight yarn. It's one of my favorite budget-friendly fingering weight yarns. I've used it quite a few times and I'm always happy with how my finished objects look and how they wear. I like the variety of colors that Sisu comes in, and most Canadian yarn stores seem to carry it. This is my third time knitting Beauty School. I really like the pattern and I really like the finished sweater that it creates. Because it's not a complicated pattern and has a very classic shape, it's easy to make modifications and make it your own. For my first Beauty School sweater, I used Cat Sandwich Fiber's Trusty in Hyacinth Amethyst. Trusty is a 75% merino and 25% nylon fingering weight yarn. This colorway is gorgeous and variegated. It's got lots of purples and a more neutral beige in it. I love how the pooling turned out, and I feel like this sweater really lets the yarn shine. For my second Beauty School sweater, I got creative and did a Halloween themed sweater. I used Sandnes Garn Sisu for this sweater as well. I was inspired by the Betty and Judy Lodge sweater, which is also a pattern by Poison Grrls. I'm not a big Christmas person, so I decided to make a Halloween version instead. I tend to run warm, so I used the Beauty School sweater as a base to work off of since it's fingering weight and I was already pretty familiar with it. I ended up making my chart based off of a perler bead chart that I found on Pinterest. I have some notes on my modifications and a copy of my chart that I used on my Ravelry page. If you're unable to access Ravelry and you're interested, I can always send you a copy of that. I went a bit more classic with my third Beauty School sweater. I did the mock turtleneck option and 3/4 sleeves, and I also knit the body of mine a little bit longer than the pattern calls for. I knit mine down to about my belly button. I've been very inspired by the 60s lately, and both the outfits that I've been wearing and the patterns that I've been knitting reflect that. My inspirations for this sweater were Audrey Hepburn and Beth from The Queen's Gambit. I love the look of a black turtleneck or mock turtleneck sweater with some high-waisted pants. It's such a classic look and it is so comfortable. One of the reasons that I wanted to knit this sweater was to layer underneath sleeveless mod-style dresses so I could wear them year-round. This navy blue dress with the white details is vintage and I love it. It is much cozier with my sweater layered underneath, and it looks super cute with my pea coat. I'm not sure about you, but I love navy blue and black together. I wear these colors together a lot. Even my car is navy blue and black. Another way that I like to wear this sweater is layered underneath a pinafore. This sweater looks adorable with my green velvet pinafore, and it's such a comfortable outfit. It's one of my favorite outfits right now. If you're interested in this pinafore, the brand is Hell Bunny, and everything that I've purchased from Hell Bunny is really nice. I love to pair this outfit with my black knee-high socks and a beret, and it looks really cute with my black cape or my black pea coat over top. I wore this outfit to a doctor's appointment recently with my black cape, and I got a lot of compliments on it. I find that my cape isn't usually warm enough for winter weather just because there's too much exposed skin around my arms and my neck, but my Beauty School sweater solves both of those problems. Added some gloves to this outfit and was comfortable wearing it out on a chilly Vancouver Island winter day. It doesn't usually get too cold here though, so it was probably only about 5 degrees Celsius or 41 degrees Fahrenheit. I love this pattern. It's such a fun knit and it's not too difficult. There are a few different sleeve length options. There's options for short sleeves, 3/4 sleeves, or long sleeves. There are also options for a regular neck or a mock turtleneck, and the length of it is pretty easy to customize. This sweater looks good in solid colors, variegated yarns, or with a bit of color work added to it as well. All 3 of my beauty school sweaters have turned out beautifully. They look great on me and they're really comfortable. I would definitely recommend this pattern, and I may even knit another one someday. I am currently working on a second Baudelaire crop by Skeinanigans, but this one I'm modifying to be a turtleneck. I'm using Wild in the Woods Folklore in Wolfsbane. Folklore is a single ply 100% wool fingering weight yarn. Wild in the Woods is a local dyer from Vancouver Island. They use wool from Canadian sheep and focus on dyeing sustainably. I love their dark and moody colorways. Wolfsbane is a gorgeous dark blue color. I am loving knitting with this yarn. It's got a very rustic feel and it's gorgeous. So I mentioned that I'm going to be modifying this one to be a turtleneck. I am in a real turtleneck kick right now and I can't get enough. I loved the shape of this sweater though, and I've been wanting to knit it again. So modifying it to be a turtleneck seemed like the perfect solution. I'm just kind of winging my modifications. It's a raglan shaped sweater, so I skipped the ribbing at the top for the collar, and then I went back at the end and picked up the stitches to do the turtleneck. It's a really quick knit. I've only been working on it for a couple weeks, but I've already finished the body and I've picked up the stitches for the turtleneck and I'm just finishing that off now. I didn't reference a pattern or anything for the turtleneck. I just picked up the same amount of stitches that I cast on, and I've been working in the twisted rib pattern and just kind of trying it on as I go. So far it's looking good, but I figure it's easy enough to just rip the turtleneck out if it's not working and start again. I'm trying to take decent notes as I go of all the modifications that I'm making on my Ravelry page. I'm really bad for thinking that I will remember what I did and any changes that I make to a pattern, but if I don't write it down, then I won't. This pattern has options for short sleeves, 3/4 sleeves, bust starts, and a full bust adjustment if needed. I knit short sleeves and bust starts for mine, and I knit mine longer so it's not a crop anymore. I knit mine to about the top of my hips. I already have quite a few shorter sweaters in my wardrobe, so it'll be nice to have a little bit more variety, and I wanted this one to be a little bit more relaxed and comfortable. I added a few more stitches to my cast on, and I also did an extra lower yoke increase repeat, so this one will be a little bit more of a relaxed fit than my last one. Since the final season of the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina came out recently, I decided to do a full rewatch before I started the new season. I definitely think some of my inspiration for this sweater came from Sabrina. She has a very 60s style and wears a lot of turtlenecks. There are so many amazing sweaters on that show. I made some notes as I was watching because there are quite a few that I'd like to make after I use up some more of my stashed yarn. Since I haven't found any patterns that match her sweaters exactly, it'll be a fun challenge to modify similar patterns. I really enjoy knitting this pattern. It's been a fun knit and I'm really happy with how it's knitting up. I really like my first Baudelaire crop as well with the Peter Pan collar. I get a lot of wear out of it, and I'm sure I'll get a lot of wear out of this one as well. I am also working on a beret and scarf set from Spinnerin Booklet number 195. They are vintage patterns from the 60s. I'm using Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted in Sapphire Heather. It's a 100% wool yarn and a gorgeous sapphire blue color. I really like working with wool of the Andes. It's not quite as soft as merino, but I still find it pretty soft, and it's a really good price. I think one of my favorite things about this yarn is it comes in just about any color you could ever want. I bought this yarn a few years ago for another project, but I ended up abandoning it just because I wasn't enjoying knitting it. I love this color, and I could use a dark blue hat and scarf, so it works out perfectly. I picked up this project around Christmas when I was craving a quick and easy knit. I finished the beret within a few days, and I have been slowly working on the scarf as a side project. Laying flat, the beret looks super cute, but I can't get it to sit quite right on my head. No matter what I do, I end up looking like a mushroom. The pattern says to hold the yarn double, which seems a little bit crazy for the tiny needle size. I feel like the stiffness of the fabric is probably part of the problem. I'm considering ripping it out and starting again with just one strand of yarn. When I swatched, I was still able to get gauge with just one strand. I think it'll sit a little bit more casually on my head if it's less stiff. For this scarf, I'm only using one strand of yarn, and I'm really happy with how it's knitting up. It's an easy 8-row repeat, and it's really good for TV knitting. I think it's gonna look adorable with the tassels, and I can't wait to wear it. Next, I'm gonna tell you about some yarn that I received since I last sat down to film a regular video. I bought 2 skeins of Pearl Scout Yarn's Starry Fingering base in Luna. Starry Fingering is a 80% Eco Superwash Merino and 20% nylon fingering weight yarn. Luna is a gorgeous dark purple color, and it's based off of Luna from Sailor Moon. Pearl Scout Yarns uses natural dyes, and their yarn supplier is certified RWS, Responsible Wool Standard. The wool comes from farms that have a progressive approach to managing their lands and a holistic respect for animal welfare. Victoria from Pearl Scout Yarns has a podcast on YouTube. If you're interested in watching that, I'll have a link in the description below. I've been wanting to order from Pearl Scout Yarns for a while now, but the US to Canadian dollar exchange rate and the possibilities of duties has been holding me back. I was so excited when I found out that Bistitchual was going to be carrying it, and as soon as it was up on their website, I was all over it. Bistitchual is a Toronto yarn store, and they also have a knitting podcast. They've got a lot of gorgeous yarns, and they mostly focus on Canadian and queer dyers. I'm so happy with this yarn. I love the color, and it is super soft. I was really into Sailor Moon when I was a kid, and this isn't the first time that I've ordered Sailor Moon themed yarn. One day I'd like to buy some of her Sailor Mercury yarn as well. I bought a couple of vintage pattern booklets off of Etsy recently. The first one is a patterns booklet called Shells by Beehive. It has a bunch of cute sleeveless tops in it, and I'm thinking about knitting one of the tops from the front cover using my yarn from Pearl Scout Yarns. I think I would knit it a little bit shorter though, just because I generally like shorter tops. I'm leaning towards the blue cabled top, but I also really like the yellow rib top. The second one is a patterns booklet as well. It's called Carefree Capes by Beehive. This one has 2 cape patterns in it. I really want to knit one once I work through a bit of my stash. I love capes, and it would be nice to knit one for next fall. The pattern that I'm looking at is DK weight, so it wouldn't take too long to knit. I think that I would either knit it in black or navy blue. Before I go, I wanted to say a quick thank you to everyone who watched my 2020 knitting recap video. I had a lot of fun playing dress up and showing off my knits. It got more views than my previous videos, so I'm assuming you enjoyed that as well. I'm going to try and show off more outfits with my knits from now on. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking it and subscribing to my channel. It lets me know that you're interested, and by subscribing, it'll make it easier for you to find my future videos. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.